From the rugged desert outside Yuma, Arizona, this is Outpost Outspoken. Outpost Outspoken is the official podcast of U.S. Army Yuma Proving Ground, which conducts natural environment testing of military equipment in Arizona, Alaska, and the tropics. Hello, I'm Mark Schauer. As a young man from a military family, Sean Franklin of YPG's Technology and Investments Directorate dreamed of working for the Proving Ground. When his first time applying for a job didn't succeed, he kept trying. And for his perseverance, he was recently recognized as one of the Yuma Sun's 20 under age 40 rising stars. So Sean, you applied for work here 38 times before you finally got accepted.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of perseverance.
Well, I suppose so, that or it's just a lot of foolishness people were telling me, and to just give up and move on and cut your losses. But I was interested, and I thought I could get a chance, and I just, took about 2-3 years and finally got out here, and all I needed was that one opportunity to get my foot in the door.
You come from a family with a lot of military experience. Did that inspire you to want to work here?
Yes, sir, absolutely. So my dad was active duty in the Army. My dad's dad also in the Army, and my mom's dad in the United States Marines. So I was very interested in finding some way to help contribute back in civil service in some way, shape, or form, and I couldn't find of any other better way to do that than working for the DoD and out here for the Army specifically.
And your dad has worked out here for many years as a civilian subsequent to his military career.
Yes, sir. He's a helicopter pilot for the UH-60 Black Hawk. And before that, when he was active duty in the military, flew the Huey and also the Cobra.
When you were growing up in Yuma, you must have been pretty familiar with Yuma Proving Ground.
Oh, absolutely. It was, my dad was out here as long as I can remember, pretty much for most of my life, whether that was even before I was born when he was out here active duty, or later on with as a contractor, and then later on as a civilian, and as he has continued on out here on his journey working for the Army.
When there was an air show and so on, and your dad was a subject matter expert, did you tag along?
Oh, absolutely. So basically, he knows more than anybody I know about aviation, specifically helicopters as well, but basically anything regarding the history, the implementation into the military, the advancements, the technology increase over time with the capability and everything they do for utility helicopters, attack helicopters, everything used here, foreign, everything. I mean, he knows more than anyone I know as far as anything about aviation, and definitely about helicopters.
And growing up in Yuma, you were very community service oriented. You're an Eagle Scout.
Yes, sir, Eagle Scout. So I remember one time I was a Cub Scout before I was a Boy Scout, but basically it was 2nd or 3rd grade. My mom dropped me off at a meeting to get started in Cub Scouts, and basically told my dad, hey, here's something you and Sean can attend together. And so basically, he was with me every step of the way ever since I want to say about 2nd grade or 3rd grade or so for a Cub Scout, and then into Boy Scouts, and then as an Eagle Scout. And basically everything regarding community service projects, land beautification projects, cleanups, any way to help organizations and local businesses as well, and volunteer work and service for as long as I can remember.
You volunteered more than 2,000 hours of community service.
Yes, sir. Yes, that was over the course of the past several years, and basically just, this is my home. This is where I come from. I was born and raised here. I've only ever lived in 2 places, here in Yuma and in Tempe, 4 years for school, and then came back. So, this is my home.
So you work in the Ground Combat Directorate here.
So that's interesting. I did for the past 3.5 years, and I actually just started a new role, converted to a different position, actually yesterday. So I'm actually over now, as of this week now, over with Technology and Investments. So that's a new role. It's my 2nd day now, and I'm excited and interested and enthusiastic to help continue the mission and the capabilities on a much hopefully a larger scale, and helping all of YPG So I'll continue to try and grow and excel and help where I can.
So you've been recognized in the broader community recently. The Yuma Sun chose you as one of the 20 under 40 of Yuma County.
Yes, sir. So basically I got an email and a phone call several months back. Mary Lacey, she was a government civilian, 41 years of service. We worked together back in ground combat and metrology and simulation division. And basically she called me up one day and said, hey, I nominated you for recognition. Here's a link and the information on it, and see if they reach out to you. And I didn't think too much of it. I thought, oh, well, thank you, I appreciate it, but how would that go with so many other people also being nominated and applying? And then next thing I know, I'm getting reached out to several times from Yuma Sun as being a selected candidate for this. So I greatly appreciate the opportunity, and it should be very interesting, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
It sounds like you plan to stay in Yuma County and Yuma Proving Ground for a little while at least.
Yes, sir, absolutely. I like I said, this is my home. I was born and raised here. All my family's here. My dad was stationed here back when he was in the Army, active duty, and my mom and her family, and my mom's dad in the Marine Corps was stationed here at MCAS Yuma at the air station. So basically all my history, my family, my life, everything is here at home in Yuma. So I definitely am a part of it and like to maintain that as long as I can, continuing to help and serve in civil service as long as I can.
Sean, it was great visiting with you today. Thanks for coming by.
Well, thank you, sir. I really appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for your time.
Precision fires are common at Yuma Proving Ground, the Army's busiest test center, but are usually seen in the vast ranges, not the petroleum lab. For physical scientist Larry Nelson, however, being right on target has been a nearly lifelong pursuit. Nelson, you see, is a competition shooter, proficient in all manner of firearms. So Larry, you started shooting competitively when you were 13 years old.
That is correct. So how that all started was my dad saw a shooting match on ESPN called the Chevy Truck Sports and Steam Challenge. He thought it was the coolest thing that had ever happened. He calls up NSSF to find out where or when he could shoot this thing. They said, well, we don't have one on your side of the country. How would you like to run one? So my dad set up this competition. Me and my friends started shooting it. Through that, I met a lot of these pro shooters like Lone Swigger. He was a member of the Army Marksmanship Unit. And he got me involved in small bore competitive shooting, and that's how I got my scholarship at Jacksonville State.
And prior to getting that scholarship, though, you worked at a Boy Scout summer camp?
Yeah, I worked at Boy Scout Camp Geronimo in Payson, Arizona from the time I was 14 until I was 18, really. So every summer went up there, was shooting, teaching kids how to shoot. And then during the summers, after I started competitive shooting, I'd leave halfway through and we'd go to Camp Perry, Ohio, to the national matches there, and then I'd go to the USA Shooting Nationals. At that time was in Georgia.
And you have at least one record that'll endure forever.
Yes, I do. When I was 15 years old, was it 15? Somewhere about then, in Phoenix, Arizona, they always hold the National Muzzleloading National Championships. And at the time, they had a 100-yard offhand competition for juniors. And I set the record in 100-yard offhand black powder rifle. And about 2 years later, they stopped having that portion of the match, so that will endure forever. It will never be challenged.
Okay, so at Jacksonville State, you studied molecular biology, biochemistry, yep. And you did a lot of competitive shooting and
I was on the NCAA team there. We went to the NCAA National Championships each year that I was on the team. And in 2005, we were the runners-up to West Point. We lost to West Point by 1 point in the NCAA National Championships. So the downside of that is that was actually the tightest competition that's ever happened in NCAA. So until that point, typically the winner was 10, 20 points apart. That year, the spread from first place to fourth place was 1 point each. It was the tightest it's ever been in NCAA history.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What was your schedule like to practice for these competitions?
Well, that was what was interesting. So I had morning classes. So unlike most people in college where they can sleep in and you have their first class at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, our first class always had to be the first period of the day. So I was going into class about 8 o'clock in the morning was the latest. I had solid classes until about 2:30 in the afternoon. And then every day from 3 o'clock until 6 o'clock, we were on the range training. So basically you'd come out of class, you'd go to the range, you'd shoot for 2 or 3 hours, finish your training courses, go home, study, and then repeat the next day, every single day.
Did you stop competitions after college, or?
I competed a little bit after college, but by that point I'd had 2 kids, and that kind of really cut into it. But now since then I've shot 2 of the national championships for Sportsman's Team Challenge. We came runner-up a couple years ago. That was when you guys did that little article on me. But yeah, I've shot a lot of little local matches, things like that, just to kind of keep things up, and thinking about getting back into air gun next year. So investment in time and materials, but yeah, it sounds like it could be a lot of fun.
You're also a pilot.
Yes, I am. So yeah, I built my own airplane. It was actually a Zenith 601 HDS. It's a kit plane. Built the motor, so it's powered by a Chevy Corvair motor. And I've got about 200 hours on that plane right now flying, and about 350 hours total time as a pilot.
Is there any advice you could give novice shooters, how to improve their proficiency and so on?
Number one, it's basically skill. So a lot of people think I'm just going off the range and shoot and shoot and shoot, and that's not how you improve your shooting. So the number one thing you actually do is natural point of aim is the number one drill. So how you would do that is you come up to the firing line, you get your position set, you aim at the target, and if you're a little off, you adjust your body until you're perfectly lined up. Then shoot one shot. Put the gun down, reset everything, and you go back and forth to the point where you get so proficient in setting your natural point of aim that it becomes second nature to always make sure that you're adjusted so that you're not fighting the gun to the target.
Larry Nelson, thanks for visiting with us today.
No problem.
This has been Outpost Outspoken. Thank you again for listening. We'll see you next time from the Army's busiest test center.